The greatest of all the Space Knights has returned. Let's discuss. Hello and welcome back. In 1978, the electronic toy ROM was created by inventor Lawrence Bing McCoy. McCoy had previously created the toy's electronic battleship and Starbird for Milton Bradley. ROM was an electronic toy, created due to the rising popularity of such toys in the late 1970s. McCoy originally named his cyborg creation COBOL after the computer language. But when he sold the idea to Parker Brothers, they changed the name to ROM, presumably after the anagram for the computer term read-only memory.
Far, far away, in another galaxy, the Knights of the Soul Star Order, defenders of justice and truth, have been ambushed by the evil magicians, the Dire Wraiths. The Soul Star Order has prevailed, and are now seeking out their scattered enemies. One of these knights has followed the trail of the Dire Wraiths all the way to Earth. This one the Dire Wraiths fear more than all others. This one has hounded them and kept them underground for centuries. This one alone could wipe them off the face of creation. He is Rom, Lord of the Soul Star Order. Rom, the Wraith Slayer. Rom, the Space Knight. Even he must be careful. The Dire Wraiths can assume any form they wish. Rom counters this with the energy analyzer. With it he can see through appearances and determine the true essence of any being. Rom also has a weapon unique to his order, the neutralizer, which can disorganize any molecular structure. He has rocket pods, which can instantly send him soaring. He has a translator through which he can communicate with any intelligent being in the universe, and his respirator allows him to breathe in any atmosphere. Rom, Lord of the Soul Star Order. Rom, the Wraith Slayer. Rom, the Space Knight. A microelectronic creation from Parker Brothers.
The original ROM figure stood about 13 inches high, but had barely any articulation compared to other action figures on the market. But what it lacked in articulation, it made up for in electronic features. ROM featured a variety of lights and sounds, with different sounds for his backpack, respirator, and 3 different handheld accessories that could plug into his backpack: his translator, analyzer, and neutralizer. ROM was not part of a toy line. It was envisioned and released as simply a one-off figure, and did not sell as well as other action figures of the time. In an interview years later, McCoy blamed the sales figures on lack of marketing and poor package design. In 1980, ROM was licensed to Palitoy of the UK to expand their Action Man Space Adventurer line, and was sold alongside figures like Captain Zargon. McCoy had not created a backstory for ROM beyond him being a cyborg. That changed in 1979 when Parker Brothers partnered with Marvel Comics to create a ROM Space Knight comic book. Parker Brothers brought the idea of the alien Dire Wraiths being ROM's arch enemies to Marvel, but everything else in ROM's backstory was created by series writer Bill Mantlo, who also found success with another toy-based comic, the Marvel adaptation of Mego's Micronauts. Like Micronauts, as well as other Marvel adaptations like Godzilla and Shogun Warriors, the ROM comic book series was set squarely within the Marvel Universe, so that ROM could interact with all the heroes and villains of Marvel Comics. ROM number 1 was released in December 1979, with Mantlo joined by artist Sal Buscema. The story that was created reveals that the Dire Wraiths are a race of shape-shifting aliens who utilize both science and dark magic, and had their eyes set on invading the peaceful planet of Galador. In response, the leaders of Galador sought out 1,000 volunteers to, at the time, temporarily give up their humanity and become the cyborg defenders of Galador, a group called the Space Knights. Through his many battles with the Dire Wraiths, Rom became the greatest of the Space Knights, and was intent on eradicating the menace of the Dire Wraiths wherever they went in the galaxy, which led him to the planet Earth. Rom made Earthfall in Clairton, West Virginia, where he began hunting down the remnants of the Dire Wraiths. Because the Wraiths were shapeshifters, they were disguised as humans. And even though Rom's neutralizer weapon did not actually kill the Dire Wraiths, but simply banished them to the dimension of Limbo, it appeared to the people of Earth that Rom was there killing humans, which led to usual comic book misunderstandings. Much like the aforementioned Micronauts, the ROM comic book series far outlasted the shelf life of the original toy, lasting 75 issues and 4 annuals, ending publication in 1986. Over the course of those 7 years, ROM encountered a multitude of Marvel heroes and villains, including the X-Men, Power Man and Iron Fist, Jack of Hearts, Nova, the Torpedo, Galactus, and many more. In Marvel canon, it was eventually revealed that the Dire Wraiths were a deviant offshoot of Marvel's long-standing shape-shifting alien menace, the Skrulls. In 1991, Parker Brothers was acquired by Hasbro, and at that point, ROM became Hasbro's intellectual property. Nothing was done with ROM for many years, until 2016, when Hasbro licensed ROM and many of its other properties to IDW Comics. IDW rebooted ROM, creating a new backstory for him and the Dire Wraiths, as many of the elements of his original backstory were still owned by Marvel. ROM became part of the Revolution crossover event, which saw many Hasbro properties, including Transformers, G.I. Joe, Mask, Visionaries, Action Man, and Micronauts, take part in a huge crossover event. In the 1990s, Toy Biz had planned to release a Dire Wraith as part of their 6-inch scale Silver Surfer toy line, which was based on the animated series of the time. A prototype of the Dire Wraith was sculpted by Claiborne Moore, but it was ultimately never released. As far as ROM himself, Hasbro dabbled with a couple of figures over the years. In 2014, a Mighty Mug version of ROM was released as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Mighty Mugs were Hasbro's attempt to cash in on the super deformed figure market that is currently dominated by Funko in the US. In 2017, Hasbro released a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive box set based on IDW's Revolution crossover. This set included figures from all the different Hasbro properties that were featured in that event, including a 1/18th scale version of ROM, as well as an IDW-designed Dire Wraith. Since its original publication, the Marvel Comics ROM series had never been reprinted. This was due to the fact that ROM was a licensed character whose adventures took place within the Marvel Universe. So there were some legal complications to overcome, but they were overcome when Marvel and Hasbro entered into an agreement which would allow for the reprinting of the ROM series as well as the Micronauts series. Over the course of 2024, Marvel published 3 hardcover omnibus editions reprinting the entire original ROM comic book series. And at the time of this recording, they have just started releasing softcover collections in their Epic Collection series of reprints. Along with those comic book reprints came the announcement that ROM would be joining the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends series. And at last, he has arrived. Here is ROM in all his shiny glory. This is a really, really nice looking figure. It is sculpted to look just like his comic book appearance. Of course, liberties were taken when ROM was translated from toy to comic book, as they were when the Transformers were adopted into comics and animation as well. They took the basic elements from the original toy and improved the proportions to make it look like an actual figure. So he is completely shiny silver, head to toe, except for a few red highlights on his jetpack there, and a couple on his torso, and of course his eyes. And of course the eyes do not light up like they did in the original toy. It just gives the appearance that they're glowing red. He does have double jointed knees and elbows, and he is pinless to give him a nice, clean, streamlined look. He comes with 2 alternate hands, a fist and an open hand, as well as the 2 gripping hands that he has on him. Unfortunately, he does not come with the translator, but he does have his analyzer and neutralizer, both silver with translucent red tips. And there's a blast effect molded in that same translucent red that is molded to fit right on the tips of either accessory. The only other accessory he comes with is this little prop comic book. This is not an actual book, it's just a piece of pliable plastic with the comic book cover on it. And all the figures in this wave came with one of these little mini comics, and there's really no relation to the figures in this wave to each other. They're just a random assortment of figures, it seems like. But the common theme is they all have one of these little mini comics, and I'm not sure what the use of this accessory is supposed to be. I can't see a use for this besides doing some figure photography with like a meta-textual reference that they're reading their own comics. It seems kind of a useless accessory to me, but there it is. I was surprised at how big ROM is compared to other Marvel Legends figures. He is a little bigger, as he should be. Here he is in comparison to a couple of his shiny brethren, Silver Surfer and Ultron, and he is taller than both of them. That's it for my look at ROM Spaceknight. And for the past year or so, Hasbro has been producing Marvel Legends figures of characters that I never thought I'd see, like Death's Head and Crystar, Crystal Warrior, and now ROM Spaceknight. But what do you guys think? Were you fans of the ROM comic book? Did you have the original ROM toy from Parker Brothers? And will you be picking up this new Marvel Legends figure? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, thank you for your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next video.